All right, let's dive in. Today, we're taking a look at a company called Hidroteknik. And what's interesting about them is they've spent decades focused on one single, really critical idea: engineering continuity. We're going to explore a philosophy that isn't just about selling you a part, but about making sure your production line never, and I mean ever, stops. So let's kick things off with a really basic question. If you're in manufacturing or any kind of heavy industry, what's the one thing that, at the end of the day, matters more than anything else? When you strip it all back, what's the one thing you absolutely can't live without? It's just one word, right? Continuity. That constant, reliable, uninterrupted flow. Because let's be honest, when that stops, everything stops. Production, profits, everything. That risk of downtime, that's the nightmare that keeps plant managers and engineers staring at the ceiling at 3 a.m. Okay, so if continuity is the number one goal, that forces you to think differently. It's a whole new philosophy, really. It stops being about individual parts and starts being about the entire system. And this quote, this is it. This is the core principle they started with way back in 1984. Think about it. This one sentence totally changes the game. It's not just a transaction anymore, like buying something off a shelf. It's a promise that the thing will actually work. So you can really see the two different worlds here. On one side, you've got your typical component supplier. You call them, you buy a part, end of story. The focus is purely transactional. Making it work, integrating it, well, that's your problem now. But on the other side, you have the solution partner. It's not about the transaction, it's about the relationship. They're not just selling you a thing, they're delivering a result. And the performance? That's their responsibility too. And this isn't some new idea they just came up with, you know? This has been their whole approach since 1984. We're talking decades of experience here, fine-tuning this model and becoming that go-to partner for some really complex hydraulics and pneumatics. Okay, so how do you actually make good on a promise, like delivering a working system? Well, it's not just one thing. It's built on what you can think of as 5 pillars of support. It's a whole structure designed to make sure your system works, period. So let's walk through what this actually looks like. Yeah, it starts with component supply, getting you the right parts. But that's just the beginning. What if you need something that doesn't exist? A custom power unit, a special cylinder. Yep, they do custom manufacturing. What about when a critical hose blows out in the middle of the night? They've got a mobile service for that. Got a brand new complex system you need to design? Their engineers are there to consult. And then, to make sure it all keeps running for years, they handle the maintenance and overhaul. You see? It's not just one service, it's a complete ecosystem. But here's the thing. The real secret sauce isn't just this list of services. Lots of companies do some of the stuff. The difference is the philosophy that ties it all together. They call it the end-to-end difference. And it's all about one simple idea: taking total ownership of the outcome. So what does end-to-end ownership actually mean? Because it's easy to throw around buzzwords like that, right? But here, it means something very specific. It means they take full responsibility for a system's performance, from the very first chat about what you need, all the way through to making sure it's running smoothly, reliably, right there on your factory floor. And here's how that process actually works in the real world. It's basically 3 steps. First, they get almost obsessive about clarifying the requirements, getting every little detail right. Second, they execute the project. And third, and this is a big one, they do continued follow-ups out in the field. The job isn't done when it ships. Let's zoom in on that first step for a second, because this is where everything is won or lost. They're not just asking, hey, what part number do you need? No. They're digging deep. What's the load? The duty cycle? How fast does it need to run? What kind of environment is it in? What about safety? How are you even going to get in there to do maintenance? See the difference? That's proper engineering, not just taking an order. And honestly, this quote just says everything, doesn't it? It totally changes what done means. For most companies, the project is complete when the box is sealed and it's on a truck. But here, the project is only complete when it's running reliably at your site. That's a huge shift in perspective. So, what's the takeaway from all this? It means you're moving beyond just buying and selling. You're building a real partnership, one that's built on trust, and more importantly, on a shared goal, making sure your system is absolutely reliable. And at the end of the day, this whole philosophy, it's not really about selling a product. It's about delivering peace of mind. It's that feeling of knowing you have a partner who is just as invested in your system's uptime as you are, and they've got the track record since 1984 to prove it. And so that leaves us with one final question to think about. I want you to take a look at your own operations, at your most critical systems. Are they just a bunch of parts that happen to work together? Or are they truly intentionally engineered for continuity?